Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, being 6:01, we will call the Jackson School Board meeting to order. Skipping the salute to flag. The first thing is approved minutes from 11/16/20.
So moved.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second from Mike, I believe.
Yep.
All right, and any changes on the minutes, anybody?
No.
All right, by roll call vote, Jen Ansaldi,
Yes.
Jerry Doherty,
Yes.
Darlene Ferentz,
Yes.
Kate Fournier,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
All right, great. Citizen comments, there's 2 phone numbers on here, I don't know, so I'm assuming they would be citizens.
One's Pam.
Okay.
Hi, this is Hank.
And
Hi,
Hank.
Hank, okay, so.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Merry Christmas, Hank.
Merry Christmas.
All right, so no citizen comments then? All right, presentation of school programs, FYI items.
Nothing for this point for me, Gail.
Nope, nothing here.
All right, old business, the tuition contract. Do we have any meetings upcoming or anything?
I can give you a little bit of an update. Talked to Meredith Nato at SAU 13 the other day. So we have a joint board meeting in January.
Mhm.
And at that point, we'll bring all the names forward. And I've talked through Meredith, Jack Waldron from Tamworth, who kind of he will hopefully discuss that at the joint board meeting in January.
Okay, great. All right, so we'll move right on to instructional issues. First reading of policies. We have the personnel policies for contracted employees.
Jen, if I might make a motion that you open all of them and then vote on them individually. So you make one motion to open and approve all the first reading of the policies and then vote on them individually.
Okay, so we will do that.
You need a motion and then you need to vote on it.
All right, motion to do first reading of all policies on agendas 1 through 25.
I can second that.
All right, and then vote on them individually. So second that.
So all those in favor of doing that, Jen Ansaldi,
Yes, please.
Jerry? Yeah. Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
There you go.
All right, so we have the personnel policies for contracted employees. Did not print them all out, but you have control, Kevin.
Yeah, so I can go through them or just give you the highlights. Basically, on the first 3, what you'll see is there's a change to the health insurance. So it's moving from the current plan to a higher deductible, more consumer-driven health insurance plan. So that was the biggest change in those policies for those who had to take a look at that. So that's consistent with the entire SAU boards, Conway board, Bartlett board, moving to that, like I said, that higher deductible plan. So
Kevin, I just had one question on that. My notes, I have that Jackson was the only one that kept the debit card. Is that correct?
So we just met a few minutes ago, and one of the things that has occurred, and we can talk about it during the personnel committee meeting, and it was recommended to policy meeting, was in order to move to that higher deductible plan, there will have to be a small change to the debit cards. Okay, so it's we paying $500 for a single plan, $1,500 for a 2-person, $1,500 for a family plan, which covers all of those deductibles. The premium savings for the employees are approximately $500 for a single person, and then it's upwards of $1,200 for two-person and family plan. One of the things that had to change was the insurance company, because it's a higher deductible plan and it's consumer driven, you can't pay for all of the deductible costs. Otherwise, there's no skin in the game for the employees. So there's a small change. I'll be meeting with the rest of the folks about that. We didn't realize it because Jackson had a little bit different cards than everybody else. So, but they will receive the savings on the premium costs over the next couple of years. The rest of the districts did phase out the cards, okay? One of the pieces that the personnel committee was respectful of and working with the staff is to say, let's see how it goes this year and see what the liability for this medical is. And then if we need to revisit the getting rid of the cards over a period of time, we can do that. But they felt like, minimal change, no change to the cards. We have to make some change to go to that, but those are in those three contracts.
Okay. And Gail, everybody on the staff is aware, educated, and fine, no questions?
They're not aware of the card change. I'll meet with them. We just decided that, and that was new information from the health insurance company as well.
Okay, I just want to make sure if we need to have any other, to make sure the staff is on board. That's all I care about. Okay. So those are the first three policies. It's the healthcare.
You'll need to vote on the first one, and then the second one, and then the third one.
All right, so all those in favor of moving the personnel policies for contracted employees forward for second reading?
By roll call, Jen,
Yes?
Jerry,
Sorry, yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
Okay, if that's the only change in the second one, we'll just move on. So approved to move to the second reading of the personnel policies for non-contracted employees.
By roll call, Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
And the last one of the block, moving on for second reading, is the personnel policies for the principal.
By
Yeah.
roll call, Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
I didn't print this off, Kevin, but could you scroll to JICM for your own device technology?
Certainly can.
Thanks. I believe there was a question from someone who's not in the audience, but I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page.
Oh, sorry. Board officers, sorry, went too fast, too far. 6. Take me a second here. Well, there we go. Shrink that down a little.
Gail, do you remember what the question was by any chance?
Well, she hadn't read the policy and neither had I when we talked about it, so it was kind of hard to say. But Allison, our technology person, did have a few concerns. I'm thinking that this is first reading, right? So it's not approved till next month.
Right.
So
Correct.
I will be sure that she and I take a good hard look at it, have a conversation, and if she has any concerns, I can be more specific about what those concerns were.
Okay. Does
I think,
anyone-
in the past, we have not allowed students to bring their own cell phones and iPads and whatnot into school. We have one-to-one already, and so the kids use our school devices. So I think that when she was thinking about kiddos bringing in their own devices for her was a problem. So I would need to explore that further with her.
Okay. I'm okay with just having it out there so that we have a policy on it, but
Yeah.
what our school rules are, you know, for classrooms could be different. But yeah, if you want to take the chance and come back to us before the second reading is approved, that's fine.
That makes the most sense to me is to sit down and have her actually look and read what it says before we make a decision about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Discussion on this one?
No.
All right. We can either table it or just bring it to the second reading. You want to just table it, Gail? You know, I mean, not approve it for first reading?
I'm fine with letting
Okay.
it go and then bringing any concerns back the second time.
Do
Okay.
you want to send it back to the policy committee?
Mm. I mean,
Or do you want
Given that it's really kind of an in-house thing that needs to happen there as far as what they want to do with it, if Gail reviews it and then finds it's okay, we can just approve it at the second reading. If she wants us not to, then the second reading, we can either make changes then and kick it to another second reading, or just approve it if it's good. So I say we just approve it now for a second reading and go from there.
all right.
Unless the policy committee thinks there's a reason to look at it.
No, we already looked at it, so, okay.
Great, thank you.
All those in favor of approving the JICM, bring your own device technology?
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
For the second reading, yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
Okay, now we're getting into some things.
Perfect.
First, I'd like to take a quick second and thank Jerry for all your time and sharing your document. It was very helpful to move us along in the process of getting some of our board processes in place and policies in place. So thank you very much. It was a great catalyst. So we've taken some of what you have and meshed it with what was already on the books for the state, and then so the rest of this, or a lot of this, comes from you, Jerry. So thank you.
I just cut and pasted from the State School Board Association and plugged in Jackson where it was necessary.
Just say thank you, Jerry. Okay.
That's all right.
All right. So a BBAA board member authority. Motion to move to second reading.
All right, so Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Went out. Okay.
Okay.
All right. For BCA, board member ethics, motion to approve for second reading. Or,
Any comments, questions? Now you ready to vote? All right.
No, ready to vote.
Jen,
yes.
Jerry,
Jerry?
Yes.
There he is.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Okay. Moving to delete the BCB board officers to be replaced. Second reading.
So you can delete this one. All those in favor of deleting policy BCB? Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
All right.
She's back.
All those in favor of moving BDB board officers, which replaces BCB, to second reading?
Any discussion? Roll call. Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah. Okay.
Did you guys
Sorry,
see-
I keep being, sorry, yes.
Did you guys see Pam's little pop-up there?
No.
If you hold the space bar for a moment, you can actually override the mute instead of having to unmute yourselves.
Oh, great. Thanks,
Yeah.
Pam.
True, I'm doing it right now. Thanks, Pam.
Okay.
There you go. You got to hold it while you're speaking.
And you also can't be on another screen when you do it.
All right. So moving on to 10, ACAA-JBAA, harassment and sexual harassment of students. Motion to move on for second reading.
Any discussion? Okay, Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene? Yeah, and Kate,
Yes.
and Micah? She might be taken away.
Wait, I tried the spacebar thing. Did it not work?
No,
Now it is.
Dang.
Now it
I
is.
tried it too.
All right.
Maybe
I
it's
gave
just,
it a go.
sorry. Oh, well, it was worth a try.
Oh,
Okay,
One.
moving on to 11. Motion to approve ACAB-BGAA, harassment and sexual harassment of employees to second reading.
okay, Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes,
Kate,
Yes.
Micah?
Yes.
If anybody has any questions, just chime in. Kate and I were already through
Sounds
the,
like you did the long haul meeting. I'm really appreciative to both of you for your commitment and diligence.
we're not just rushing through them. So if you guys have questions, feel free. So, all right, moving on. Approval for second reading is GCEB, rate of pay for long-term substitutes.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep up.
If I could help you, Kevin, I would.
Yeah. Get that in the book. Okay. We're close. And
yep, you're getting there.
holy moly. Hey, there we go. All right. And Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes,
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
All right. Moving on to 13, BCB, board member conflict of interest, approve for motion to approve for second reading.
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
yes,
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
Moving on to BBB.
I'm sorry, can I ask a question if something has changed? But my number 8 says BCB and my number 13 says BCB.
Well, they do. I don't
Yep.
know.
We'll check it.
Deleted. We are deleting the BCB anyway. The first number 8.
Oh,
well,
right.
there's two
Yeah.
8s, actually.
I have 2
When-
number 8s.
Yeah,
I
two
don't have
number 8s.
7.
Right. But there's no 6 or 7.
Huh.
Well, actually, 4, 5, 6, 7, and well, there's 2 8s, but no 6 or 7.
Okay. Melissa, if you want, I can catch up with you to make sure it's all cleaned up.
Okay, we're missing number 15 further down as well.
Yep.
Yeah, you are. 15.
I wonder what happened.
Oh, probably 8,000 agendas going out.
I know,
Well,
And there's two
letters. Yeah.
There's 2 25s.
yeah,
Oh, well, it's the numbers that matter.
All right.
and the
we'll get it. Yeah.
More than the numbers. Okay, so we're at BBBC, board member or district officer resignation. Motion for second reading. Move to second reading.
Any discussion? Okay. Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes,
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
Okay, BEA, which in my world is bacon, egg, and American cheese. But this is regular school board meetings. Motion to move to second reading?
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Micah.
Yes.
Okay, moving to BEDB, agenda preparation and dissemination. Move to second reading?
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
Okay, moving to BEDG, minutes. Vote to move to second reading?
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
All right, BEC, non-public sessions, vote to move to second reading. Or motion.
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. We have BEDD, rules of order. Motion to move to second reading?
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
BEDH, public comment and participation at board meetings. Motion to move to second reading?
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
Okay, BDD, school superintendent duties. Vote to motion to move to second reading?
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
All right, BFE, administrative prerogative in the absence of policy. Motion to move to second reading?
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
I'm just gonna shut my sound bar off over here. It sounds like someone else is in the building and no one should be in the building with me. Okay. So BGA, policy development revision, vote to move to second reading?
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
EGF, suspension of policies. Vote to move to second reading?
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
Okay, the last one for this section is BEAB, school board member use of electronic communication devices during school board meetings. Motion to move to second reading?
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Okay, we have some personnel actions here. Election of Daryl Brown as part-time custodian.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
I'm happy that we found someone for that spot. I know that was something that was really important to the school and will make John's life a little better, I hope, or a lot better, I hope.
We hope. Yes. All right, election of Neil Stokes at ESSC Program Coordinator. Motion. Anybody? Second, anybody? Okay. Gail, how much is the stipend still for this? So,
500.
It's $500.
okay. Anybody know what the other schools are paying?
Yeah, they don't pay anything.
They don't pay anything? Okay. Okay, great. Any question, motion, anybody?
I would just say that the way it kind of gets organized and pushed at other schools, the schools kind of take it on themselves to do a lot more. That's why Jackson pays to have someone do it and coordinate it for us, because we're a small school and our staff has lots of responsibilities as it is. So taking this on can be kind of tough. So that's why we created the position and have the $500 stipend, just to kind of provide some incentive. Although it's probably not worth, Neil puts in a lot more work than $500, but I am appreciative that he does it and takes it on. So
Yeah, we couldn't do it without him. He does an amazing job. He makes it seamless for everybody.
Thanks for the context, Jerry.
Yep. Okay.
Do you have a motion on this one yet?
I kept asking for one. No one wanted to, so I'll motion.
Motion.
I'll second.
Slowly prodding people, but no, okay. All those in favor? We're good?
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
Okay, election of Sonia Porter as Nordic Ski Coordinator.
Need a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second, Darlene.
Okay,
I second.
great.
All right. Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
And the next one is just an FYI of Delaney Kennedy as long-term substitute, which is fabulous.
So moved.
I don't think we need to vote on it, but I think we already did.
You have the policy in place. You could if you'd like to, but you don't need to.
Gail, does that mean you're going to look for somebody to support the upper house as a part-time para?
Yes, we're looking for a 30-hour-a-week para. So by all means, network and let all your people know that we will be hiring. And there are additional hours due to increased need in that classroom.
Spreading the word.
The additional hours will hopefully help.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, election of Kristen Groves as mentor for.
So moved.
Yep. Second.
Jen,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So we're now on
Good
to
job.
Business affairs as FYI 2021 budget status report. And first, Gail and the staff, thank you so much. The long-term substitute I know was excruciatingly painful to find. So thank you for your diligence and your creativity in looking for somebody. I appreciate it. It's not easy.
As always, thank you all for your support as well. It wasn't easy, but we're happy that we came to a solution without radically reconfiguring all of the classrooms.
Thank God. All right, so we have the 2021 budget status report. Any questions on our current budget? All right. So we can move on to review draft of the 21-22 proposed budget.
If I might, Jen, just kind of give an overview, if that works.
The floor is yours, sir. Thank you.
And then Gail and Lily can feel good to jump in. So I just kind of did before we get line to line items in the budget, I did kind of an executive summary for you folks. So, one of the things that Gail always does is she projects out the enrollment over the next 3 years. She does a great job with that. October 1st is usually the date that she uses because that's the count that goes into all the reports. And at the time there were 46, but she will tell you that it's been kind of a dynamic swing with the population, including adding a few students since then, and students either homeschooling or vice versa. So the good news is the trend has been up around that 50 number at Jackson Grammar School. So what you'll see in the budget, if you were to go line by line, is these are the personnel changes that are reflected in the budget. And one of those is an increase to the special education teaching services from a half-time person to a 0.75 three-quarter time person to help deliver those services. Some of those funds do come from IDEA, the special education grant that's written, but you'll see that increase. The world language staffing, and again, there was a budget committee meeting with your board before making these recommendations. And it was 7 hours a week, which was extremely difficult to find somebody. So the move to 12 hours a week was put into the budget. So there's a little bit of an increase, and these are the pages as well. Bartlett, you have a nice partnership with Bartlett in taking some of the staff from JBES for your school nurse services in your OT or occupational therapy services. The library, the bad news is that Bartlett has decided to go with a full-time library position next year, so they won't be able to share those services with Jackson. So you're going to have to try and find a part-time librarian to cover those services. And then also reflected in there are some salary for bus drivers that were adjusted over the last year or so. You'll see that New Hampshire retirement, which is mandated by law for educational personnel that meet the 32 hours a week. So that has increased from 17.8% to 21.2%, and that's what the district contribution is, okay, for New Hampshire retirement. So, Jackson, even with a small staff, that still increases by $20,000. The benefits changes, so what you'll see is with regard to that health insurance plan, we talked about the employee savings, but the district will also be saving about $48,444. So that's, and there may be some minor adjustments due to the card changes that Lily and I have already talked about. And also included in that is a market wage adjustment for the administrative assistant for $2 an hour. On page 2 of the budget, you'll see the tuition, and we can go over this a little bit more, but you do pay tuition from Jackson to Bartlett for 7th and 8th graders. Last year you had 13 students in the budget, and this year you have 14.15. People often ask the question, how do you get 0.15 students? Well, usually it's somebody who has started the year and then has moved out. You pay for what's called the average daily membership. The same thing is true for the high school with the tuition agreement between Jackson and Conway for your high school students. You get billed for that as a tuition line. And you can see last year you had 25.4 students in the budget. And this year you have 30.22. So you'll see that increase to the tuition line. You also have, by recommendation of your board members on the budget committee, added a line on page 7 for $10,000 for strategic planning, and that's to support any programmatic cultural changes in the near future for Jackson School District. So I think that may be a topic of conversation, but if you have questions, by all means, ask those. And then the last part, we'll talk about the warrant articles. This is what's been recommended. So the bus, you don't have to buy a bus this year, but you will need a bus the following year. Buses typically cost about $97,000, I think, is what was used this year. So that will get you up pretty close. And then the following year, if you contribute again, you should be right on target for maintaining that bus. The maintenance trust fund, I recommended putting in $15,000. You currently have a balance of $89,555. The special education trust fund, that would be in the event that you have some significant needs. You can use that. It's good protection for Jackson because you have such a small, tight budget that if in the event that you did have a student move in and had some significant needs that you needed to provide, you could use this money to help support that. And then you have the Whitney Trust Fund, which is that $3,000 that you put in annually, and you have $44,732 in there. The Tuition Trust Fund, you have $76,336. I know that Lily has her own thoughts about the tuition trust funds in today's world, but at some point you may have the conversation as to, do you want to take the money out of that and close that down, or do you want to keep that? But those are essentially your articles that I know of right now. So what I'll do is I will pull up the line by line document. And I know that I have, like I said, I can send out that other document that I just shared with you. But you'll see, like I said, the health retirement, you'll see some of those lines where they drop down, and that's reflective of the changes to the health insurance plan. And then you'll see the increases to the retirement built into the budget as well. So the good news is that the change in health insurance, actually, when you put it next to the retirement, you're still less there. So that's all your staffing. And then you get into your tuition lines for the middle school and the high school. That's these two lines right here. Mm-hmm. So you can see the changes there. We said we have 5 more students at the high school. And then you have all of your supplies. Everything looks fairly similar going through. Some reductions here, increases there, depending upon the cycle within the school. And I'm sure Gail can speak to any specifics that you do have.
Well, I do notice that there, and it's not huge, but there is, for the first time in a long time, and this is probably why, there is some increases in the supplies line of a few categories, but we haven't had an increase at all for a long time. So I'm assuming we're due.
Right, and as Kevin said, there are other lines that we've typically ordered from that have been reduced. So we generally offer the staff the same amount of money, and they just distribute it where their needs are for the upcoming year. The only one increase that I wanted to speak to is in the technology area.
Yeah.
Because Allison has been so efficient and able to do a lot of the repairs on the computers herself, we have moved the money that was in the repairs line to the purchase more computers line. So although that line looks like it's up a great deal, it's because the other repairs line, contracted service for repairs, is that much less because we haven't needed to use those services.
Great. Nope, that's great. You guys always run a tight ship on that stuff. Okay.
Let's see. So you do see a little bit of, yeah, the technology jumped up a little bit. Then you'll see this is where that special education teacher jumped up a little bit more. Whoop, sorry. That's me. Other than that, summer programming, those numbers are pretty stable all the way across the board. Yeah, all the way through. Just looking at changes. After school programming, a little different. The guidance counselor, now you know who the person is, so you can make the adjustments there. Contracted services for the nurse. Testing, speech. Please holler if there's anything you want to slow down. Your technician, technology coordinator.
There's nothing.
The library that you see, we aren't positive what that'll be, but you're going to need those services. School board salaries, placeholders for a lot of this stuff. This is the new line that we talked about. Strategic planning for Jackson School District. That $10,000.
So if we can get a little into that, but I think we're going to do that under board member, the committee reports. Is that okay to circle back to it then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And then you'll see principal salaries, retirement, the ripples all the way across. Custodians, maintenance folks. You can see this did drop down. John did a great job on the floors up there last year. But there's a little decrease there.
That's a great decrease. That was the one thing I had noted on that page. Yep. Awesome.
Contracted services stays the same. The bus drivers, you'll see you made those adjustments last year. Increase. Taking a look, I don't see anything else.
So we really need less money for the exams and health and staff for staff services, or should we have more for health exams and staff services?
Those are, I think those are for, like, your bus driver has to get a health exam annually, so you pay for those.
All right. So we don't need more, we need less. Okay.
Yeah, I think Lily takes a good look at what was it over the previous 3-4 years, and if it's been there, you know, she's good. She holds her feet to the fire. No inflated costs. If it's $350, why put in $600?
Right. No, perfect.
You had the engineering services last year that you put in.
Yeah, that was from the yep. We don't have anything proposed yet for this year, so
No.
we're still using. Yep.
And then you'll see these are blank right now until you figure out exactly what you want to do. So these are the warrant articles. Okay, the bus, maintenance trust, special education, Whitney trust, and the tuition trust.
What was the thought on deleting or removing the tuition trust fund?
If I might?
Yeah.
Jackson is Jackson, Harts, and Chatham would be the town's school districts that I would not recommend dissolving tuition agreements because they are pay-as-you-go for Bartlett. So when Jackson middle school students go to Bartlett, if you had 3 families with middle school students move in next year, your tuition balances there could cover the additional cost of the 21,000 per student going to Bartlett for middle school. Whereas your tuition with Conway for high school is known a year out. And those are not adjusted for anybody that moves in that year.
Okay, so just leaving what we have is fine.
You haven't used it in years, so it looks safe right now. It would definitely cover 3 students moving into town that are unknown to you right now.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you, Lily. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And then you'll see your grants that you've
Kevin.
received. Yep. Go ahead, Jerry.
I guess before we move off the warrant articles, the one warrant article I did mean to address this year, and maybe we can talk about it at the facilities meeting we have in January, is the maintenance trust. I don't know if we need to keep putting money into that. We should kind of review with Stokey what he thinks we kind of like, what is our maximum expenses that we might hit in 1 year, emergency expenses, and if they're, if they're below $90,000, and why do we need to keep adding $15,000 a year into it if it seems to be safe the way it is? For general maintenance of things that are planned, we'll plan that the year ahead. And we'll put that in the regular budget for that. But the maintenance fund is really for emergencies when a boiler goes, or the heating system goes, or air system goes. And I'd like to at least talk at our next facility meeting to see if that number is okay where it's at, or we should keep adding money into it. I might want to take that out of there, or recommend that we take it out of there.
Yeah, you folks do have time. That's a great plan, Jerry. Take a look at it and say, if you want to just exit out for this year, we can remove it off the warrant and go from there.
Keep us posted, Jerry. What he says. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you let us know, Jerry, before the next meeting, we can take it off and get the the warrant kind of trimmed up a little bit.
Yeah, I think our facility meeting is before our regular meeting, so that we'll have time to do that.
Great. So you'll see the overall budget's up 6%, 6.1% by the time you've thrown all the grants, and that's before any warrant articles. Okay. Obviously, your warrant articles would add to that. And then Lily put together the revenue. So you do have some private tuition, some other local. I believe that's probably for summer programming, maybe. National Forest, lunch monies. And then you'll see the tax rate going up. It does go up this year. Projected. That's right now. There may be other pieces that come in. Okay, and then the articles, but we did just go through those. Do you have any questions on the line by line budget? Tough questions go to Lily. I'll take the easy ones.
I do not at this time. No. Just the ones we're going to get to when we get to the committee. So, anybody else? Nope. Okay.
So the only thing we will we'll trim up the budget, get it as accurate as possible, and then we'll revise the warrant articles with information, and make sure Micah's name goes on the warrant. On her sign in blood. Make sure you're on there.
Great.
I know you're excited about that, Michael. All right. We'll skip around a little. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lily. A lot of work. Thank you. And Gail, thank you. Appreciate everybody. All right. Any COVID update you want to throw at us?
No, Jackson's doing great. We're talking, probably going to send out a message to the community here in the next day or so. Just reminding people, thanking them for those who are doing it, but to remain vigilant. We've seen doing the navigation through SAU 9. Staff have done a tremendous job. They're tired, I'm sure, of wanting a little bit of a break, but going in and out, and we'll throw some statistics into our letter as well. But really, the rate in the schools is significantly lower than the rate in the community as far as the number of positives. I keep saying that, fingers crossed, we haven't had a cluster or transmission within the schools, which has been dynamite, which has been really, really good. The most difficult piece is when we have to quarantine throughout the district, because you're taking, for every positive case, you may be taking 12, 15, 20, 25 people with them. Parents have been dynamite as far as continuing to be receptive to they don't always like it, especially when we call and say you have to go out and quarantine, but it happens, and they get it. They get it because their kids like being in school and they need to be in school. So they'll live with some of those inconveniences along the way. High school sports they're in the practice phase right now. We monitor that on a bi-weekly basis. We'll keep an eye on the numbers, and then see if we're ready to, enter game playing after the new year. A couple other pieces, some good news is the finance office, Katie and team, Susan, Gail, have been great about trying to get organized. We did apply for what's called the Supplemental Public School Response Fund. So Jackson didn't get a ton of money on the CARES funding, didn't get a lot of money on the first fund, but applied again for this fund. 206 schools get the first one, and 75 get the second one. Jackson was one of those schools, Conway and Bartlett. So pretty aggressive, and get another $10,500 to help support things like your long-term subs, purchasing of the tents. I think there were some computer software pieces. And the key was, with this last grant, everything has to be expended and in place by December 31st. So there was a lot of shifting. There was a real short window, extra hours that those folks put in, and they get some more money. So I want to thank those guys publicly, and Susan for getting all the documents together, and saying this was COVID related purchasing. So good job for those folks. So now we're looking forward to getting into the holiday, giving our staff a little bit of a break, and hopefully people will be doing what they need to so that we can return after the new year and do that safely.
Great.
Thanks, Kevin. Gail, can I ask a question? Kevin and I were able to chat about the kind of letter that's going out to the community at his kind of SAU-wide level. Are you planning to do a Jackson-specific letter to our community?
Yes, not as comprehensive as Kevin's, but I do want to make sure that I thank our committee, our community, because I do know that there are families traveling, because they have called and said, we're going to travel, so how long do we have to quarantine? And so people are being really conscientious about asking us the questions, being honest about telling us what they're doing for the most part. So I'm really pleased with the response, and I think that's the reason why we still don't have any cases, because the staff and the community have worked really hard at following all of the guidelines. And Helen, the school nurse, has been hugely helpful and available 24/7 weekends and so forth, to be sure. So I will be sending home holiday wishes with a few reminders about travel and letting us know and such.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you both. Yeah, we are very lucky to be going to school in this area. Very lucky. So, Gail, do you have anything else on the update progress of reentry plan?
No, other than the plans for ESSC have gone forward. We have many parent volunteers who will be skiing with their children, which really takes the burden off of the groups and the cohorts for planning purposes. It looks like Sonia has been working with ski touring to get that in place. Not only the regular ski touring program, but the, I forget what they call it, but they're going to do the race and the timing down at the Eagle for the older students. So those things are in place with all the protocols to keep everybody safe. So just that one more thing I need to fill, that position I need to fill in Joan's room for the aide is kind of the last kind of thing that needs to be pegged, the hole that needs to be filled at this point.
Okay.
So, you know, we so far we've filled the custodian and we've filled the K1. So I'm optimistic that we'll find a great person for that position as well. And in the interim, we have a friend who's subbing for us, who's doing a great job. So.
Great. Is there any way we could tie in the librarian for next year into that? Or the language, world language to make it like a full time?
I'm putting out feelers around town. We'll see what happens with that, but.
All right.
Awesome.
Already thinking about it.
I know that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Okay. Board member issues, committee policy, policy committee. I think, Kate, do we have anything else from the policy committee? I think we bored them all enough. No.
I don't think so right now. Yeah, we got to spend some quality time with Katie. And I think it went well, and we'll see kind of what comes of. I'm curious about what Allison comes back with for technology stuff, and we'll move forward.
And we are just plugging along at all of them. And I do want to give a public thank you to Katie Wilson. She's the mastermind behind bringing all the policies, new and old, and recommended forward to us to make our world a little bit easier, a lot easier, actually. So, and then I don't know how she does it. She takes all the notes and the minutes and chicken scratch, I'm sure that's all over her stuff, and then makes it real for us within a few hours. So very appreciative. The personnel committee, did I miss anything on that one?
No, I don't think we have.
Oh, okay, great.
I don't see the DEI committee on here, so we might want to add that. It's not in the agenda.
That's going to be number 4. Yep. The facilities meeting.
We are on track. The facilities meeting, we're on, the facilities committee is on track, and we'll have a lot more to share in January as we finish the interview rounds with key personnel to talk about ways to use usable space and how to look toward the future. So more to come.
Great.
And I have the Whitney Center as well.
Oh, I didn't see any minutes on that one, but Darlene, why don't you go ahead with the Whitney Center?
All right, so I joined a meeting for the Whitney Center a few weeks ago, and nothing directly affecting the schools, but they're looking towards programming, and a parent of a child in the school is now the Whitney Center chairperson. So I'm sure, you know, she'll be doing a lot of things to try and keep the school involved. So it's my first attempt at that.
Well, thank you for doing it, Darlene.
Yep.
Appreciate it. All right, and Micah and Kate, do you want to go over the DEI?
Sure. Yeah, wanted to share an update on our work. Thanks so much for bringing that up, Kevin. And just so that the board is aware of what we're doing, and also to share it with the larger school community. So as we've talked about before, our mission is that the Jackson school community is committed to fostering a welcoming environment that promotes an appreciation of and support for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Recognizing that education is essential to achieving this goal, we strive to prepare all students to be active and contributing citizens in a diverse and ever-changing world that champions social justice. So that's our mission that we have agreed upon. And we wanted to share some of our initial objectives and our timeline. We've been working really hard on a survey. And it's been really wonderful. We put it out to teachers and gotten some great responses, and decided to also send it to alumni and parents, so that we have a little bit of a baseline to say, hey, how have your experiences around DEI been thus far at Jackson Grammar School? What do you think we could augment? What's worked great? What needs more work? So we're really starting with the core group of people that we're trying to support. And in January, February, we're going to take those surveys and process them and then make a plan. So we're going to come up with a plan for what we want to be doing to advance how Jackson is interacting on these landscapes that are really important to all of us and that the board has deemed important. So some of that could look like working with a facilitator. We've been working on developing a proposal with one out of Boston who actually focuses his work right now on he is the DEI director of a K-6 school. And prior to that, he was at a K-8 school. So really appropriate to what the grammar school is doing. Also looking at specific program development that we might want to implement for the board, for the faculty, any different books, programming, curriculum, you name it. So we're going to be getting into all of those things come late winter and spring, and then talking about how we phase it into ongoing planning.
So I think that's great. I like the timeline, and I like, an action plan. I have some questions as far as, have we tied in, and I know I've recommended this before, with anything to do with Portrait of a Learner?
Yep, we've talked about that, and that actually toggles into something that I was going to bring up in other board member business, which maybe is appropriate to bring up now. But I wanted to recommend that we create an ad hoc committee in Jackson to look at the strategic plan that's now coming out of Conway, and basically to make it adaptable to Jackson, and it would better integrate some of these pieces, and then also set us up for more of a 5-year vision. So that would, beyond just the DEI committee looking at it, it would help us have an ad hoc committee to look universally at, basically to draft off of the great work that everybody did in Conway, and to say, let's take this momentum and really capitalize on it and make things applicable to Jackson and be able to move forward with them. And then we'll have this umbrella that will help inform these various pieces.
Great. Okay. That's helpful.
Yep.
And then,
so let's come back to that, because I will recommend we do an ad hoc committee shortly.
I appreciate that. And then, is there going to be at any point in time before the budget meeting that goes to the town, because we are asking, when our budget is up, we're asking for, $10,000. And I think it would behoove us to have a presentation on that and what that money is actually going for the community at large, so they know what we're actually spending or proposing to spend money on.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I think it's worth us discussing that, because right now the way that it's in the budget is a fund that we can use as the board to make choices to support us strategically, right? So that fund is not earmarked for DEI work. It's earmarked for what we see as it could do lots of different things over the years. Right now, we're saying that we want to look at it to hire a facilitator, because that would really help us have an external view and someone who specializes in this to come and support all of the work that we're already doing. So I might table that, or I might ask Kevin to step in about that, because I know that we specifically said, let's make this allocation in the budget not toggled to the DEI committee. So I would recommend that we think about it as a broader amount of money that we're looking to use to support development in lots of different directions that we might use it for in the coming years. Kevin, can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, so one of the things that does happen is you're budgeting almost 18 months in advance, really, to try and take a look at some of these things. So, last year you put in some money for an architect and to help facilitate that. So, the thinking is you're going to probably have very similar. And even though Conway, it says Conway plan on that, the strategic plan, it did broaden throughout the SAU 9. I know, Jen, you spent a lot of time, and Bartlett folks have been involved as well. And so if you have those 5 different areas, right? So right now you have personnel, you have student achievement, you have technology, facility, and then you have community involvement. And if you in Jackson say, hey, look, we really want to tackle, it doesn't really matter. This provides you an avenue and some resources to say, all right, you know what? We really should do a technology audit at Jackson Grammar School. Do we have enough bandwidth? It may require an upgrade of some type or a study of some type. You may decide that you're going to hold a couple of community forums to support the DEI piece. Well, it'd be nice if we ever get over COVID here, which we will, but to be able to bring in a guest speaker perhaps, or purchase a video that you want everybody to watch. And it could be any of these things. Facility-wise, it could be, again, you might bring in a consultant to take a look at your facility or to get a next phase going. So that $10,000 is, to me, it really, once you get your plan together and you get those thoughts and ideas organized, it allows you to build some momentum to really impact change, however it's chosen to move forward.
Okay, that's a clearer understanding.
Thank you, Kevin.
Of the rumor that was going around as to what the money might be for. So specifically earmarked. So when the community comes to me and asks me, all of a sudden there's this money, I want to be able to explain it a little bit better to them. And the facilities one was actually, I believe, a warrant article separated out. So that we use for that. So great. Okay. I agree. If it's a little bit broader usage of the money to be used where we see fit based on survey results and the plan and the moving forward with a lot of different things, I think it's good to have it in the bucket. Mm-hmm. Anybody else have questions? Or?
I just wanted to add, I think that I know I've participated in the strategic plans too, but I wonder if you might get more interest from community members and parents from Jackson if we did some kind of a, we can never get back together, but a strategic planning opportunity for our families to come directly related to our school and our community, maybe in the same areas as Kevin mentioned that the Conway plan does, but just get their feedback. It might be better attended and we might get more input from the families we actually serve.
Awesome, Gail. That's exactly what I was going to propose. So you just set it up perfectly, because what we want to do is what I want to propose that we do is have an ad hoc committee that, as I said, looks at the Conway strategic plan and adapts it for Jackson and does it through, and looks at what do we want to do this? Do we want to have, listening sessions with the current families? Who do we want to bring into the mix so that people feel like this is ours and we own it and we're really excited and we're standing behind what this 5-year vision is? And also doing it efficiently, because there was a lot of work and a lot of heart and great results that were put into the Conway plan. And it's really appropriate timing, especially when they're phasing it in, for us to be able to, as I said, kind of draft behind it and move it forward as our own. So that's what I would like to, what do I do, Kevin? Do I propose that we create an ad hoc committee?
Yeah, make a motion to.
I make a motion to create an ad hoc Jackson strategic plan committee. Thank you, Kate.
Second. You need a second, a third? All right, let's do that. Do you need any committee members at this time?
I think we do, and I don't need to be on the committee. Also, I'll put that out there in case we have strong interests. I'm happy to serve on it. What do we think? Jerry's, we were thinking that maybe it would be something that you would like to do because you have some good historical perspective on that. So.
I think you just fell over.
Also, I couldn't unmute. Yeah, I mean, how many board members are we looking at having on our meeting?
Well, I think we can only have 2. That's the problem. Yeah.
That's something I could take on, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone else have a really strong passion? I don't need to sit on that committee, and I'm happy to do it.
I would love to, but I can't do it at this time.
Okay.
But I'll be happy to help and come when I can.
Yeah, I think there'll definitely be a board piece of it, right? I mean, that's the conundrum, is that we'd like more people's voices, and to move this forward in committee, there can just be 2 of us, but I do think that having a board listening session on it will be really important.
I think I'm where Jen's at
Okay.
at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not at the point where I can take on another committee right at the moment.
Great. Jerry and I will do it well
There you
and
go.
involve people and efficiently. I can't wait,
Yeah,
Jerry, for you to
great.
hang out.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
And yeah,
All right. I like that, because the strategic plan is a lot of work. It was a lot of work, and
Just the point of order.
yep, go ahead.
We didn't vote on it.
You didn't vote
Yeah.
on it?
You're establishing a committee, so you have a motion on the floor. You've had
Right.
discussion. You should take a vote on just establishing that committee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All
So
those in
Jen,
favor? Yes, I am.
Jerry, Darlene,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Micah.
yes.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. No, that sounds exciting. And it would be
Awesome.
great to get more of the community involved. I know what a stretch it was to get people involved in the overall plan with Conway. Was a lot of work, I think, and hope that we will have more involvement from the community on a more local level. So that would be two. Yeah. Okay. So we did that. Do we have any board discussion at this time? I think we just had it.
Can I ask a question about where we're at with March and being outside and not in the Whitney Center? Because we can't be like this.
So the state did approve remote town meetings and school board meetings, so
Oh, good. That's
it,
awesome.
it can be remote. And, obviously we'll know a lot more as we get closer to March. The only thing I would add is that, if we do have a remote meeting, we probably shouldn't add anything really large to the budget. We should be kind of, meaning like not extra big projects or something like that. As far as like, basically, particularly like from the facility committee meeting, we're looking at some stuff that might be pretty costly. And this wouldn't be the year you're gonna have a remote meeting to ask for $150,000 to add rooms or space to the building. If we have it remote, would be my opinion anyway.
Good point.
Yeah, no preschool article, Jerry. We only need 380 people to show up at that one.
Yeah. All right.
Use absentee ballots.
All right. So we're on for the next meeting, January 19th. Any other citizen comments? Did anybody else chime in? No? All right. Anybody else have anything to say before I sign off on this? All
Happy
right.
holidays, everybody. Have a
Thanks,
great
everyone.
couple of weeks.
Have a
Thank
great
you very much. Good night.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Happy holidays.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kevin.
Watch that video again, Jen.
Yep.